So you're thinking about moving to Breckenridge, but before you do, let's talk through some of the pros and cons of living here in the mountains. As everyone knows, Breckenridge is an absolutely amazing and magical mountain town. Some of the things that I love the most about Breckenridge are the walkability aspects. You have the ability to get just about anywhere that you would like to go within a few minutes. Breckenridge has an amazing main street that's full of shops and really some gourmet restaurants. Some of my favorite places on Breckenridge Main Street are the Breckenridge Distillery, Orem Restaurant, as well as Mikasa Mexican Restaurant. There's a whole bunch of really great options that you can check out whether you're here in town or staying for the long term. Now, on top of that, you also have the easy access to just about everything that you're doing, whether it's the grocery store or whether it's really even walking to the lifts or the trailheads. That brings us to our pro number 2. So, access to the mountains. In Breckenridge, you're here because you're enjoying the mountains. Not only do you have an amazing world-class ski resort right here in town that you can walk or take one of the free shuttles to, but you have access to so many other ski resorts in the area. You have Keystone, Copper Mountain, Arapahoe Basin, Loveland, and Vail and Beaver Creek right out your door. All of them are within about a 45-minute drive, so it's a great location. You have tons and tons of trails, both for winter and summer access as well. In the winter, you can use them for cross-country skiing, snowshoeing. There's a whole series of mountain biking trails throughout Breckenridge for the summer, as well as hiking. You can hit everything from your nice leisurely stroll all the way up to the 14ers around here, which include Quandary Peak if you're looking for something a little bit more aggressive. Now, that brings us to our third pro. Our third pro for living in Breckenridge is the year-round events that you're going to have access to. In the winter, we have some amazing events. Fest is one of the favorites here in the mountains for the wintertime. We have the Race of the Santas, the world's longest shot ski, you name it. And that's a great event for locals and visitors alike. In the winter, we also have the Snow Sculpture Championships, which is really cool. You can check out some amazing designs that people are creating from all around the world. Throughout the summer, we have a ton of art festivals going on. We also have several beer and wine festivals, including the Breckenridge Wine Festival. We even have a tequila festival now. So there's quite a few different events that you can enjoy. It's fantastic for all of the different things that you can do and keep yourself entertained. For the fourth pro, we have the weather. Breckenridge has some amazing weather. In the summer, it's beautiful. We rarely get above 80 degrees, so there's really not a need for air conditioning most of the time here in the mountains. It really happens to be incredibly pleasant throughout the summer, though the summers can be a little bit short. We generally only have about 4, maybe 5 months of summers because we really have more of our time up here in the mountains is winter. That's great, though. That means that skiing lasts all year long. We really have a lot of people who are skiing, and the resort even stays open often into June, sometimes even into July. So it means that it's now becoming more of a year-round activity instead of just something that you would traditionally do during the wintertime. Now, those 4 pros are some great reasons to move to Breckenridge, but let's talk about some of the cons. First and foremost, Breckenridge is a tourist city. We were built because of the resort here and because of the mining originally back in the day, but really Breckenridge attracts a lot of tourists both in the summers and the winters. That means both the resort and town often have a lot of people and can sometimes feel crowded. That brings challenges with parking, access to the grocery stores, long waits in line at restaurants, and all of those things that might come when you have a lot of people here in town. The second con that we have here in Breckenridge is really the high cost of living. Because it is such a desirable location, Breckenridge on average has a much higher cost of living than most of the country. The real estate here is a little bit more expensive, so are things like the restaurants, like the grocery store, just anything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Even if you think about things like plumbers and electricians, a lot of those people have to cover the cost of living and or the cost of getting up to our area, so their rates are much higher than you might expect in most metropolitan areas. Our third con to living in Breckenridge is really the road conditions. It is a winter town here, and so we've got snow a big chunk of the year. We have snow, really, it can hit anytime starting in October all the way through sometimes June or July. And that means that oftentimes we have messy roads. You need to be prepared and know how to drive in the snow, and you might want to consider something like winter tires for safety, and when the roads are bad, just stay off the roads. So there's going to be times where winter driving conditions can definitely affect your day-to-day activities. That brings us to our fourth con, and probably one that most people don't totally recognize. recognize, but Breckenridge is a small town. We are not a city, so the access to a lot of amenities is limited. Now, that goes from everything from museums to concerts to theater. All of those things are much more limited here. But even some things that people don't think about. Your access to a variety of grocery stores is limited. Your access to mail is limited. We actually don't even get mail at our physical addresses here. You have to go to the post office for your mail. Your access to physicians is also very limited. We don't have a lot of specialists here. So a lot of times you're going to be finding yourself going down to Denver if you need to visit those specialists. So take a look at the number below on the screen. Contact me if you have any questions about living in Breckenridge. I'd love to share all of the great information and give you the perspective from a local, because if you're like me, you're going to find that it's an amazing place. You just have to know what you're getting into. On top of that, I'd love to share more information about what it's like to be in Breckenridge with a family. So call me anytime at the number below on the screen.